Hey everybody, welcome back to Auto Scholar with Mr. B. I'm Mr. B, and today we have a 2017 Volkswagen Jetta GLI. It is a manual transmission, and we are going to replace the fluid in the manual transmission. So I'm replacing this fluid with Royal Purple's 75W90 fluid. Now, whatever fluid your car takes is going to be, strictly up to the manufacturer. This weight is recommended, that or 80-90, or in really warm climates, 90 weight. So I live in a pretty mild climate, so 75-90 is going to be my choice. Now, if you want to use this vehicle in a racing or a high performance application, you may want to use a heavier weight oil. That does come with some drawbacks because it does make the shifter feel a little bit more notchy, and it's going to be less comfortable shifting. It's going to be a little bit harder. It may be a little bit harder to get in and out of gear because that 80, 90, or 90 weight oil is going to be heavier. So, but it does add a little bit more protection, as far as smashing gears together, and it handles heat better than the 75, 90. But using a good synthetic 75, 90 weight oil is, as far as I'm concerned on this vehicle, is fine. So, a couple of tips real quick before we start on this. You need to make sure when you're filling this vehicle up with this oil, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that, but the vehicle needs to be level. Okay, so if you have it on a rack like I've got, that's fine, but most of y'all probably don't have one of those. So if you're pulling it up on ramps, you're just jacking up the front of the vehicle and getting under it and doing this service, you need to make sure when you're filling the vehicle, you either put the vehicle back down or you lift up the back to compensate for it not being level. The reason why is we have a fill hole that we fill this fluid up with until it gets to the hole. And so if the front end is up, we can actually overfill the transmission by putting too much fluid in. So the capacity for this is 2.4 quarts. So I just went ahead and got 3 1-quart bottles. But however you want to buy this fluid is up to you. So let's go ahead and get the car in the air. I'm going to show you guys the drain hole and the fill hole. And also, real quick, before I do that, I'm going to go and show you guys how I'm actually going to fill this up using the pumps that I have on hand. Okay, so you will need something to put the fluid in the vehicle after we drain it out, and there's a couple of different ways you can do it. I actually have a machine that'll do this for me, but I figured y'all probably don't, so I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys how to use just some basic tools to do this with. This is just a basic lift pump here. You'll put this hose into the bottle, and then you'll pump it out, and the oil will go in here and come out here. Works pretty well. These are about $10, $15 at an auto parts store. This also works like a big syringe here. This is a suction gun, Harbor Freight old special here. About $10 you can get one of those, and just like you're basting a turkey, put the fluid in, suck it out of here, and then just squirt it in the transmission. If you don't have either of these, you can get you a piece of hose like this from Lowe's or anywhere, and you can cut this nipple off here, put this hose over there, and I would probably want a longer piece than this, probably a piece at least this long here, and you can turn it upside down and hang it up like an IV and let gravity do the work for you. And the only wrong thing with that is it takes forever to do, and I have another video where I show y'all how I do it this way, and it takes literally an hour and a half to put 4 quarts of fluid in a Toyota that I did. So I don't recommend that if you don't have a whole lot of time. So these two methods are fine. They have some hand pumps. They'll almost look like hand lotion pumps that you can use, and those are kind of slow as well. But you got to remember, this is really thick stuff. This is not like engine oil, and it's going to flow a lot slower than engine oil. So let's go over here to the car, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. Okay, we're under the car. Now I have the belly shield off here. Just go ahead and get your belly shield off. You're gonna have to do that. Here is your fill plug. So this is where we're gonna fill the vehicle up. And this is your drain plug right here. So this is just as easy as an oil change. But let me give you a pro tip. You wanna take out your fill plug before you take out your drain plug. The reason why is if you take out your drain plug first, and then you happen to strip this out or can't get this out or anything like that, all the fluid's gone and there's nothing you can do about it because you can't fill it back up. However, if we have problems with this first and we need to you know, reschedule the car for another day or whatever, we can do that then. So just pro tip, something I learned over the years of doing this, go ahead and take the fill plug out first. These aren't torqued that tight. This is a 10 millimeter Allen right here. And so just go ahead and take this off. It'll have a little crush ring on it. You can replace that if you'd like. I'm gonna give you the torque specs on it when we put it back in. And you see that little drip there? This is probably just means that this transmission is actually a little over full, okay? So we'll go ahead and drain the fluid out and make sure that we have the correct amount of fluid in it. And your drain plug's right here. Of course, this normally makes a big old mess. We'll try not to. So yeah, this transmission was actually over full, because it shouldn't drip out really at all when you take that plug out. And we'll just let that drain. Should drain pretty quick, because that's a really big hole that it comes out of. This fluid is really clean, which means this service has probably been done before by somebody. And that's good news, because I bought this car used, so I have no idea where it's been or how it's been taken care of. So that makes me feel pretty good. Okay, so after it just starts dripping a little, we are going to go ahead and just slide this in. And if you have, now some of these don't have a hex, some of them have a triple square, or even I've seen Torx before, but if you have a hex, it's going to be 30 Newton meters. And if you have any other thing but a hex, it's going to be 45. So put your torque wrench on and make sure it's torqued correct. Now we need to fill it up, so I'm going to go ahead and get my bottles of fluid and my pumps, and we'll get to pumping. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and use our pump here. And this is going to go ahead and get the fluid going. Again, this is real thick fluid, so it's going to take a little bit to get it primed. So you'll just keep pumping it till it goes in there. And let me show you the other technique that I can use. Now, if you don't have a pump and you still need to get this fluid in there, what you can do is you can take a piece of line, like I was explaining, and you can run it down underneath the air box into the transmission, and you can gravity feed it. Only problem with this is it just takes a little bit longer, makes a little bit more of a mess. Just pull back a little bit, let the air fill the bottle back, push in. Again, this is going to take longer. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to do that until it starts trickling fluid out of the fill hole. And when it starts trickling that fluid out of the fill hole, then you know you're at the full level. That's why it's so important for this car to be level. All right, so as you see here, the fluid has started to drip out of the fill hole. So now we just have to put just gonna let it drip out a little bit. Until I mean, if it's a real thin stream, that's fine. like it is now, that's fine. And we'll put the plug back in. And then again, torque to 30 Newton meters if it's a hex, 45 if it's a Torx or a spline drive, triple square, whatever you call them. Now all we have to do is just put the belly pan back on and we are good to go. Okay, so that does it for this repair. Again, it should take about an hour or so to get this done, depending on how you put the fluid in. If you drip it in from the top, it's going to take a lot longer. But just remember to the used fluid that you get out of the vehicle, to dispose of it properly. Go ahead and recycle it where you would recycle oil. So you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, VK under Auto Scholar with Mr. B. Check with me there. I've got a lot more content on those forms of social media as well. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe if it taught you anything. And of course, as always, we'll see you next time on Auto Scholar with Mr. B.